Joining me now live is the Assistant Trade and Manufacturing Minister, Tim Ayres. He joins me here in the studio. We heard there what Liv had to say, Lee in particular, saying essentially your government needs to have the balls to stand up to Meta. Do you?
Well, it's been very clear from the get-go that this government and Australians shouldn't be stood over by a trillion-dollar social media platform. This is a pretty basic proposition. They should pay for the content that they use. They can't bludge off the Australian media landscape, which is under a lot of pressure. Like, the margins are pretty tight. Your organisation, all of the other media organisations, working hard to pump out quality content. Now, the truth is that a lot of the news, or what passes for news that's available on the social media platforms, is misinformation, disinformation, very low quality news content, absolute garbage. Some of it is a sewer. It doesn't always have a good impact on our democracy and our functioning. The very least that an organisation like Meta could do is pay for the content that it uses. I'm very passionate about particularly the regional newspapers that our country towns really rely upon, making sure that they've got the resources that they need to do to produce the news that they need to produce. It's time for Meta to reconsider their position. The Communications Minister's been very strong on this point. We are going to work hard on this and use all of the tools at our disposal.
So what does that mean? Have you sent them the fine yet?
Well, I've seen the news this morning about the scale of this potential penalty. There are processes that are, there to work through. But the basic principle is we're into day two of after Meta's advised the government that it's basically going to renege on the proposition that it spent the last few years paying for, at a pretty modest level, given their scale, given the amount of news content that they use. And Stephen Jones and the Communications Minister, Michelle Rowland, will be working very hard on this.
If they don't, what recourse, like how far would your government be willing to go? Banning Facebook, not allowing Facebook to be accessible in Australia?
Well,
that would be a pretty clear signal.
Well, let's see how this proceeds. There's a long way to run.
But the point is, these deals are done, and then every 3 years they renege, and then we're back, we're to the position we are now. So is there something you could put in place so Facebook can't turn around every 3 years at the end of a contract or a deal and go, no, we don't want to? Then they have to be dragged back kicking and screaming.
Well, the rules that have been in place have made sense while Facebook and Meta have played by the rules and have honoured their side of the bargain. Yep. Now it's apparent that they don't intend to. I guess that means people are going to sharpen their pencil and consider. Let's see what the next few weeks brings. Okay. It's a matter really for the Communications Minister to outline the government's response more broadly in policy terms, but we're not going to be stood over by Meta or any of these other social media platforms. We'll act in the national interest, and in this case, that means supporting our news organisations.